On October 16, 2025, a Philippine Coast Guard patrol aircraft captures a grainy image. A Chinese salvage tug, flanked by Chinese Coast Guard vessels, looms dangerously close to the BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal. The world watches as a tense standoff unfolds, years of simmering conflict now at a breaking point. On board the Sierra Madre, Philippine Marines scan the horizon, faces set. They've endured harassment before, but the arrival of a salvage tug signals a new, ominous intent. The radio crackles with urgent updates to Manila. Every move is logged, every signal scrutinized. This is no longer a regional dispute. It's a test of international law and global resolve. In Washington, Tokyo, and Canberra, officials scramble to respond. The presence of the tugboat transforms the conflict into a potential flashpoint. The Chinese ships tighten their cordon, moving with deliberate slowness, a psychological tactic to intimidate and test the Philippines' resolve. The Marines remain isolated but unyielding, guardians of a battered symbol of sovereignty. The world holds its breath, waiting for the next move in this high-stakes maritime chess game. The sun beats down on steel decks as the standoff continues, each side daring the other to act. For the Marines, every hour is a test of endurance and commitment. They are surrounded, but not surrendering. Their mission: hold the line, no matter the cost. The international community is on high alert. The tension is palpable, the stakes immense. The fate of Ayungin Shoal now hangs in the balance. The world watches, knowing that a single misstep could ignite a wider conflict. The front line of sovereignty is here, on a rusting ship in contested waters. The BRP Sierra Madre began as the USS Harnett County, a U.S. Navy tank landing ship in the Vietnam War, before joining the Philippine Navy in 1976. In 1999, the Philippine government deliberately grounded the aging vessel on Ayungin Shoal, a direct response to China's occupation of nearby Mischief Reef. The Sierra Madre became a permanent marker of Philippine sovereignty, a physical and legal claim in contested waters. Today the ship is a rusting hulk, but its symbolic power has only grown. It is a commissioned naval vessel. Under international law, an attack on it is an attack on the Philippines. A small detachment of Marines lives aboard, enduring isolation and constant pressure from Chinese vessels. Their presence is a daily reminder that the Philippines will not abandon its claim. The ship's existence forces the issue. China cannot erase it without open aggression. The Sierra Madre is a thorn in Beijing's side, a defiant symbol of resistance. Life aboard is harsh, with supplies running a gauntlet of Chinese blockades. Yet the Marines remain, ensuring Ayungin Shoal stays in Philippine hands. The ship is their fortress, their home, and their post. Its silhouette is a daily affirmation of the Philippine flag. The Sierra Madre may be decaying, but its spirit, and that of its defenders, is unbreakable. It stands as the frontline sentinel of Philippine sovereignty. The Philippines' claim is anchored in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, which China has ratified. UNCLOS grants a 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. Ayungin Shoal is just 105 nautical miles from Palawan, well within the Philippines' EEZ. In 2013, Manila took China to arbitration under UNCLOS. China refused to participate, but the case proceeded. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled overwhelmingly in favor of the Philippines, invalidating China's sweeping 9-line claim. The ruling affirmed Ayungin Shoal as Philippine territory. China rejected the verdict, calling it waste paper, and intensified its activities in the South China Sea. China's strategy: ignore the law, create new facts on the water through force and intimidation. The arbitral award gives the Philippines legal and moral high ground, rallying international support. The dispute is not just about territory. It's a clash between the rule of law and the rule of force. The Sierra Madre stands as a test of whether international law can prevail. The world is watching to see if legal rights will be respected or trampled. The stakes go far beyond a single reef. Manila has drawn a clear red line. Any attempt by China to remove the BRP Sierra Madre is a direct attack on Philippine sovereignty. The ship is a commissioned naval vessel. An attack on it is an act of war under international law. If China tries to tow the ship, it would force a direct response from Manila, making diplomacy nearly impossible. This red line is not just about a ship, it's about national honor and the principle of sovereignty. The Philippines' resolve is clear. Certain actions will have severe consequences. The red line is also tied to the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty. U.S. officials have affirmed the treaty covers attacks on Philippine public vessels in the South China Sea. An attempt to seize or tow the Sierra Madre would likely trigger the alliance. Manila's red line is both a national and international warning. The world knows where the line is drawn. China employs gray zone tactics, coercive actions just below open conflict. Instead of its navy, China uses Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels to swarm, block, and intimidate Philippine ships. Water cannons, dangerous maneuvers, and psychological pressure are routine, designed to wear down resistance. China couples this with propaganda, portraying the Philippines as the provocateur and muddying the narrative. The goal: make the Philippines' position untenable, hoping Manila will abandon the Sierra Madre without a fight. It's a long game of attrition and information warfare. The siege is slow, but relentless. The Philippines has responded with a multi-pronged strategy. Military modernization is underway. New warships, missiles, and radar systems bolster deterrence. Alliances are strengthened, especially with the United States, through joint exercises and expanded base access. Manila is also building partnerships with Japan, Australia, and Europe, forming a united front. Assertive transparency is key. The Philippine Coast Guard now documents and publicizes Chinese harassment in real time. This exposes China's tactics, stripping away plausible deniability. The truth has become Manila's most powerful weapon. The Philippines is not a passive victim, but an active defender of its rights. Courage, creativity, and commitment to law are its tools. The struggle for Ayungin Shoal is no longer one-sided. If a Chinese tug attaches tow cables to the Sierra Madre, Manila's red line is crossed. The Marines aboard would be ordered to resist, risking a direct confrontation. A physical clash could erupt on the ship's deck, with the first shot igniting a wider conflict. Alternatively, China might blockade the ship, cutting off supplies and waiting for the Marines to surrender. Or a collision could be engineered to destroy the vessel under the guise of an accident. Any action resulting in Filipino casualties would trigger Manila's defensive protocols and its treaty with the U.S. The AFP would go on high alert. Naval and air assets would deploy. The president would face a fateful decision: respond militarily or risk losing sovereign territory. The stakes: national honor, sovereignty, and the risk of war with a nuclear power. Every scenario is fraught with peril. The nightmare keeps planners in Manila and Washington awake at night. The world would be watching every move. If conflict erupts, the crisis will quickly go global. Manila would invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty. Washington would face a defining test. The U.S. response would likely begin with diplomatic condemnation and a show of naval force in the South China Sea. Options range from intelligence support to direct military intervention, each with immense risks. U.S. credibility with allies would hang in the balance. Regionally, Southeast Asian nations would be thrown into turmoil, fearing a precedent for Chinese aggression. ASEAN would likely be paralyzed, unable to form a unified response. The economic fallout would be immediate. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade. Shipping insurance would skyrocket, supply chains would be disrupted, and markets would panic. The shockwaves would be felt worldwide. A fight over a rusting ship could trigger a global economic crisis. billions of lives could be affected by a conflict in these contested waters. The stakes are nothing less than the future of the international order. The BRP Sierra Madre is more than a ship. It's a symbol of national resolve and the rule of law. Its fate is tied to the future of the rules-based order in Asia. If seized without consequence, it signals that might makes right and legal rulings can be ignored. The Marines aboard defend not just a reef, but a principle. Their presence is a powerful statement of courage and commitment. The best hope is that deterrence holds, and China backs down in the face of unified resolve. Diplomacy, backed by strength, is the only path to peace. If the red line is crossed, the world will witness the final stand of the Sierra Madre. Its fate will reveal what kind of century we are living in. The answer may lie with a rusted, grounded ship in the South China Sea.